Many people that I can't even name due to time. You all have made a huge impact in my life, both professionally and personally, and it's with great honor that I'm here before you today to speak on this week and to give us some solace and some focus for this week. It is an honor to be here today. Not only Alec, Trudy, and others here today, and again, I wish I could mention everyone. Campers, you all have taught me a lot over the last 5 years. It's an honor to be before you today. I am not worthy of this opportunity, but certainly I'm going to take it and do my best with it. So it is with great fear, happy fear, as it will, to speak before you, and not only that, to speak in light of what we see behind us. As I go into my speech today, I just want to give you a quick background of what I do. I'm a social worker. In that capacity, I work with a lot of people that do a lot of different things. In particular, I work in the criminal justice system, for the court system, and I help people that get in trouble, and I present them before the criminal justice system and seek to hopefully divert them from going to prison. And in doing so, I do a lot of different things to help people. And as many of you here today that work with people, I get to see a lot of angles of people's lives. And in that respect, I try to help people, help them change their lives, get them on the right track. And it is with that sentiment I come to you today. Often I'm asked, why am I here? And it's because a couple years ago, when I must give honor to Carolyn McIntyre, because I would not be here if it was not for her, she introduced me to this camp, and that was mostly because of what I do in the criminal justice system. I've worked primarily with youth for the last 6 years. In the last 5 years, it's been with adults and youth. So I see a lot of different things, and certainly as we relate to our campers in this week, strangely it does relate to this week. As I do this work, and I'm convinced of this, and I deal with mental health, chemical health, you name it, to help people in their lives, I'm convinced of this one thing. As profound as we need to work with people who need life change, I'm convinced that if people get a good feeling of who they are personally, if they get a good feeling that their life means purpose, I truly believe that can be a major change and foundation to anyone's life. Now, that doesn't take away from the things that other things that need to happen, but I truly believe in the work that I've done now for the last 11 years, if people get a real good feel of who they are, their identity, and also that they have purpose in life, their life can be amazing no matter what. And I want to speak to that today, basically. I want to give you one of my favorite quotes, and this is part of my code of living. It is from Mark Twain. He says, perhaps you've heard the quote before, "The two most important days in your life are the day that you were born and the day you find out why." I need a couple of campers to help me out to hold some signs. Veronica's one. I've already talked with Veronica, so if you can come up. Hold this up. In this quote, I think it's so amazing, and I might go a little wild on you because I love this quote. He says, there are two most amazing days in your life. And the other language here is for our Russian family, identity in Russian. He says, there are two most amazing days in people's lives. One of them is the day you were born. Now, we celebrate this every year, right? Every year after the day you were born, and we have a birthday, right? He says, because you were born, you are of immense value. You are of the human race. That gives you value. And I'm going to add something. You should not only celebrate every year on your birthday, I say you should celebrate every day that you have a great identity. You are a person of amazing worth. And it's amazing to me as I work with people how somehow that gets lost. And when that gets lost, we tend to fall, or we might do some things that we shouldn't do, or hang out with people that we shouldn't hang out with. You are a person of amazing worth. So, I want to say to you, happy birthday to everybody. I don't care if it's not your birthday or not. Happy birthday. And if you would, find two people in this audience and tell them you are a person of immense value. You have a great identity. Two people.
lot of value. You're a person of a lot of value.
Yes, I love it. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to really blow your mind. This quote is going to really blow your mind. According to this quote, he says, not only are you of immense value, you have a great identity, you also should celebrate the fact when you find purpose. The two great times of your life are when you're born and when you find out why. That means you have purpose, you have value. I need a couple of campers to come up. Let's see here. There we go, right there in the middle. I forgot to give this one, but I want to make sure you know that you are a person of amazing value, going back to the first. But now I want to talk about the second part of this quote is that you have purpose. You have purpose. Not only are you a person of immense value, that value means something. That value means you have purpose in this life. You have purpose. And again, I think if people understand that they have a great identity, they have value. I need one more person to come up. And if you realize that your life has meaning, Ethan, you will have a great life. You will have a life that is well worth living. And as I've been at this camp for the last 5 years, that's one of the biggest things that I have felt as a counselor and working with the psychosocial staff, that each camper, each person here would realize that you have meaning and you have an identity and value. As we think of this thing called purpose, I want to go to another level on this. But before I do that, I want you to reach across and find two people and say, you have meaning. Two people, you have meaning.
You have meaning.
Give me my glasses.
All right, let's get religious in here. No, I'm joking. You have worth, you have value, you are an immense person. And I really want you to know that today. If you get nothing I say today, you are a person of a great value. You have an amazing identity just because you were born. And because that value also means that you have purpose. Find out what that purpose is daily and also for the future of your life. But I want to go a step further to something a little more difficult. And it's along the lines of purpose. And don't wear your arms out there if you don't need to. I need two campers to hold these signs. But I will tell you, these signs are very heavy. So I need some of our older campers. Dakota, come on up. Stand over here.
I could hold it.
Yes, we're older.
And let's see here. Right there. Yep. Get your name up, sorry. I want to branch out a little bit, and I want to close with this on the idea of pain and how pain relates to your purpose. This camp revolves around pain. A lot of pain. There's a lot of pain before me. And I want to say to you today that pain, in my opinion, equals purpose. Now, it may sound crazy, and believe me, it is. But I'm one of these purpose-driven people that believes that the pain we go through, not only burns, but other things, can equal your purpose. Let's try it out real quick. Let's study this idea of purpose and what it means. We're going to test it out for you this morning, and you all help me out. Last week I was, or before I came to camp, I was talking to this research scientist. I'm from Rochester, Minnesota, Mayo Clinic. They have various doctors, nurses, the whole nine. Research scientist, and she's researching Alzheimer's disease, the memory disease. And I got really interested. I was like, why are you doing that? She does stem cell research and all that. She said, my grandmother had Alzheimer's disease. She died of Alzheimer's disease. So I became a research scientist because of that. Pain equals purpose. The second greatest players in the NBA. Like Magic Johnson, number one.
Oh,
Does
hot
anyone
take,
know what
hot
he did
take.
this summer that was super, super cool? Katie. He created a school. If you heard his speech, what was one of the main reasons why he created that school? Does anybody know? He, as an at-risk youth, used to have to walk to school without supplies, and it was hard for him as an at-risk youth. So with the money that he got as an NBA player, he wanted to create this school for other at-risk youth so they didn't have to go through what he did. Pain equals purpose. For you women out there, and I've never done this, childbirth, right? I hear it's a great thing. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not a female, but part of that process is pain, is it not? You know? But what comes of that is beauty. All of us here today. Let's bring it more personal. I'll put some of my colleagues on the spot. Ian, can you stand up? Logan, can you stand up? These are my brothers in counseling in arms. Ian, I was in the cabin with him a couple of years ago. Logan, I have the pleasure of being with him in the cabin this year. My fellow brothers have been through burns. You can sit down. Have been through previous burns, and they have come back to this camp to make a difference in people's lives. And I'm not going to pronounce purpose on them this morning, but I'm pretty sure that part of the reason they're here is because of the pain they went through. Lisa, firefighter Lisa, my colleague, where you at? I'm going to put you on the spot, girl. Lisa, I think it was 3 years ago, I heard her story, and I'm going to try to keep my composure. But her mom, as I heard, was burned, and that inspired her to become a firefighter. Painful situation, no doubt, and now she's making a difference in lives. Awesome. Pain equals purpose. Now, I'm not suggesting that you need pain to have purpose or beauty. I'm not suggesting that all pain will relate to purpose, but we know, obviously, in this audience, that pain exists. And sometimes there's no explanation of pain. But I truly believe that there's purpose in pain. And for that, I want to invoke another quote, and that is, do not let pain define you. Let it be a source to your purpose and beauty. And I will tell you, finding your identity is easy. You're born, you're here. Awesome. Finding your purpose is a little bit more difficult. Talk to Brad or Katie, they can help you with that. But each of you have purpose. Pain in choosing to make it purposeful, a whole nother level. Daily practice. And it's tough. Not only to those of you that have gone through burns, but also other things that are represented here today in our campers and just in everyday life. Now, I know some of you are saying, hey, Don, you have never been burned. You have 2 kids. They've never been burned. How can you relate? I can. And as a social worker, it would be wrong for me to try to relate to you today. I cannot relate to the burns that are represented in this room. But given that I do social work and I deal with a lot of ugly things, I think I can have some context into what goes on. And I'm going to step away from the rules of a social worker and try to relate just a little bit. Just a little bit. And that goes in relationship to my personal life. And I'm going to go there this morning. Pain is real. Not only the pain of a burn and other things that you all have gone through. But this is what I want to relate to this morning. And first of all, before I say this, one of the beauties of this camp is it's a little piece of heaven. When I come here, man, everybody's equal. It's just great. It's just amazing. And much like you, I am dreading going home tomorrow. Really. Because here, everybody is equal. Here, everybody is having fun. Our frailties, our failures, we get along. Garrett and Logan, thank you for putting up with my snoring this week. But I will tell you, as an African American man, and I don't mean this in a very derogatory way, and hopefully you'll get what I'm saying here, in the world that I live in, often, certainly within the work world I work in, I'm often judged by my outer shell. Now, it's not all racism or whatever. It could be stereotypes and ignorance, but a lot of times when I walk in the door, people see my outer shell. Could be racist how they react to me, it could be ignorance or stereotypes, but I have to walk through that door and know what I'm dealing with. And I have to choose to get bitter or better or do whatever I need to do, but as an African American, I have to deal with this. And many of my minority Americans in here have to deal with this as well. But I come from a culture that has been able to really relate to the pain of being a minority in this culture. And I want to give it to you as an example to encourage you. My culture obviously has been through a lot of pain. And please don't take this personally. Again, this is family. This is awesome stuff here. But the resilience that my culture has shown through this has been amazing. And for me, it's been inspiring. Every time I have to deal with this issue, it's an opportunity to help other people. And as I think of the campers here today, and I want to be very careful here, I know that some of you, as you walk through doors, as you go back to school, as you relate to your parents and your friends, they are going to judge you by your outer shell. They're going to judge you by the pain that you went through. And I want to ask you to choose to step above that and get through that. One of my favorite quotes, and as I dealing with my outer shell, is from Maya Angelou in her poem called I Rise. The latter part of the poem, she says, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the hope and dream of the slave. This is so profound to me as well. And there's a huge concept here. Basically what she's saying is, those who are in captivity and in poverty, they look forward to the day that Donnie Bailey can stand before you as a family member and mentor and friend and be friends in a very diverse audience. They knew, some of them I'm sure, that one day this will be rectified and we can all be together as one. Pain equals purpose. I challenge you today to think of that. Pain equaling purpose. Thank you, kiddos. If you can go ahead and sit down. As I close, I want you to gaze on the mountains behind us, or behind me. Excuse me as I get used to the wind here. Let's gaze on these mountains. Beautiful, right? Unbelievable. We can all sit here for hours just gazing at these mountains. Now, I'm not a scientist by any means, and I've been talking with some of my smarter friends this week, but that right there was created through a process of pain, strain. And I don't want to go into the science of it, but that just didn't just appear, right? That had to have a process of being built. And it was a frustrating process, at least for our earth, to be built. And today we get to enjoy that. I want you to look at this quote up here to my left. I'm sure this is pretty historic for Chile. And I'm not really trying to get religious this morning. I'm not a pastor or a preacher of any sort. But that latter saying there is a Bible verse that my grandfather loved. My mom told me about that. I've never heard him say it, but she told me he really loved that verse. I will lift up my eyes unto the hills from whence cometh my help. And obviously that is in reference to what we see before us. And as I thought that, and perhaps it is, the whole idea there was God created that, and because God created that, He can help us. Great concept, and I don't doubt that that is the main thought of that saying. But as I thought of that, and as I thought of pain, my thoughts thought, well, maybe that means that what we see out there, it is helpful because if we realize, in a metaphoric sense, that is us. The beauty that we see out there is us. It has identity, value. It has purpose, obviously, as we see it here today. Process. And I truly believe this is you. This is me. And this beauty that we see out here not only was created, or evolved, if you will, depending on how you look at it, it was created for purpose and identity. And it was actually created through pain. This is you. This is every camper here, in my opinion. And I want you to know that the pain you have gone through, the pain you will continue to go through because people don't know how to identify with you, I ask you to realize the purpose in your life and realize how purpose can equate your pain. I have a good friend named Mike. Now I'll end with this. He is, well, let me tell you a story. I met him years ago. He went to college, so on and so forth. I met him after college. I was his boss at one point. He had a great life. He had kids, a family, the whole nine. He grew up like I did in the Midwestern inner city, but he grew up with a lot of pain. That pain pushed him to, however you may look at it, to drugs, alcohol, and the whole nine. He lost his family. He lost his job. I was the one that fired him. He lost everything. And that was basically the end of our relationship. And at that time, we were not friends. I see him later in life, probably a couple of years after I was one of the people that had to fire him. He began to deal with his pain. Currently, Mike lives in Minnetonka, Minnesota. He's with his kids. He's a director of a homeless shelter, a holistic homeless shelter for the people of that region. He's having a great life, and he's one of my best friends ever. But I will tell you, he would not be able to do what he's doing today without the pain that he went through. I'm not excusing pain. We all know that pain exists. And I want to encourage you, as you deal with the pain, as you deal with your life, and not only the pain, parents. You're here today. You are parents of survivors. Others, people here today, are dealing with different pains. Realize this, if you will. You are of great value. Your value has purpose. And there's purpose in your pain. Thank you.